Most people, when they hear the word annuities, they want to run. But what if I told you that annuities, might be the one thing that can actually save your retirement? In this video, I'm breaking down the good, the bad, and the ugly about annuities. Check it out and learn why some smart retirees are finally paying attention. Let's dive in. A lot of the comments and a lot of the questions have revolved around annuities. And annuities, if you haven't heard of them or haven't heard much about them, I would tell you generally when people hear the word annuity, they run. And I think there's some reasons for that, but I want to share with you today how we analyze an annuity and what part it should fill in a retiree's portfolio. So I'm going to jump in and I'm just going to start talking about what annuities are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like anything else. There's no bad. There just is. So it's not that an annuity is good or an annuity is bad. An annuity just does what it does. So whether or not that fits into your world is the bigger question. So I'm going to bring up my screen and we're just going to talk through the annuity situation. And what I say here is knowledge is power, because the more you understand about how this stuff works, the better you'll be equipped to fit it as a tool into your overall toolkit for retirement. An annuity isn't the whole set of clubs. It's the 5-iron. It's one club in the bag, but understanding how to use it and where it goes, that's the important part. So just some basics. What is an annuity? Big picture, an annuity is just a stream of income payments. So when you think of Social Security and eventually getting your Social Security benefit, your monthly check, that's an annuity. An annuity is a long-term stream of payments. And when we think of it in the private sector, it's typically offered by an insurance company. So it's a long-term retirement program, and it's generally offered by insurance companies. And whether you realize it or not, the insurance industry is the retirement industry. This is the industry that deals with the main risks of retirement. So the stock market and the securities markets, the bond market, the interest rate markets, those are typically where we're funding on the accumulation side. So as we're building our accounts, building our nest eggs, most of the time people find themselves in those markets. And that's for a number of reasons, but mostly it's the marketing dollars and the competitive pull of the large asset companies. So think of BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street Research, the big boys that, whether you realize it or not, own about 92% of all the assets in the world. So they're really good at attracting investors' money and consumers' money. They've done a good job of setting that funnel up correctly. But is that the right place to hold your equity, to store your treasure when you're trying to play the game of retirement? And retirement involves risks that we don't have any compensation for in the stock market. So things like actuarial science and mortality credits. And the challenge to the retiree, especially if you're married, is on day one of retirement, when you're no longer adding to your portfolio. Now it's your time to spend the nest egg. There's a few things involved there. Number one, the math changes. Again, average no longer matters. It's the specific sequence of those returns that matters. But there's also a big emotional pull there. You've watched your account grow forever. It's been your pride and joy. You've obsessed over it. You've grown it. You've seen its ups and downs, but now you're at retirement and it's your baby. Well, now you have to start draining your baby to live. You have to start withdrawing from it, and you're going to watch your account values go down. And there's an enormous emotional pull on that. And that is a big strain for the retiree, because you're really caught between two worlds. You want to protect and preserve that nest egg. You want to see it there. You don't want to watch it go away. But it's also where you gain your lifestyle from, all those dreams and bucket list things that you had planned for retirement. So there's a pull there. And the more I want to live and the more I want to enjoy, the more I have to drain that nest egg, and that brings on stress. And the market is a big problem. So annuities really step in and fill the gap here. And we'll talk about how they do that, but more on an annuity. What is one? People hear annuity and they just assume or they think something. And like I said, many people run, and there's some reasons for that. When they first became popular, a lot of unscrupulous agents sold the wrong types of annuities to to the wrong types of consumers, and they weren't real honest about it. And this was before today's age of modern day disclosure requirements and paperwork, and it's had a lot of refinement over the years. So they're not the same annuities of old, but I think that's a lot of the reason why people tend to run the wrong way when it comes to annuities. And with anything else, and especially in the world of annuities, the devil is in the details, and there are a lot of details. So understanding them and how they fit your world is important. And I would tell you, the right annuity at the right time is the saving grace for retirees, because it can give you that freedom of spending without the concern that you're going to run out of money. And no stock market is going to do that. No mutual fund is going to do that. Nothing in the portfolio world is going to give you that. And there's a lot of different types of money advisors out there who have different ways of compensating for this. And they use things like bond ladders and hedge fund mutuals and all kinds of stuff. And it can get pretty complicated. But I think as we approach this through this talk today, you'll see that it can be a very powerful tool in your portfolio. Well, that was just the beginning. So if that's interesting to you, and if you're serious about retiring with confidence, and you want to learn more about building guaranteed retirement income for life, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments field. What is your biggest question or your biggest concern about annuities? Love to hear from you.